So let me also start the recording. So yeah, recording started. So yeah, now we can proceed. So I hope that everyone managed to install the MySQL environment, server environment, whatever it's exam or MySQL. So in our case there will be no difference. Exam is mostly needed in case you want to develop your PHP project. So just some kind of other website which involves PHP, but yeah, also for some other tasks like just simply have the hosting place, hosting server. It's a really nice place and really easy to use. Yeah. So yeah, that's why we can use it and we can proceed. So just in case you have any issues with installing MySQL server, let me know. But if it's done, then it's really good and we can now proceed. So today we are going to go through some practical examples using the databases, and yeah, first we can see that I'm running exam, so I can now use my PHP MyAdmin. So that is my server hosted by using exam. And here I have database. Yeah, so in addition, one small remark about the hosting. So hosting usually means that this is some kind of web host which can also be stored locally. So since this is local host, it means that it's placed locally on my computer. Also, in some cases, in some tasks, especially if you work with web development, you may need to, even if you want to, like you have one just any web code, if it's JavaScript code, just HTML assembly, it's HTML, JavaScript, or whatever it is, then to read the actual data from the files, you need to use some kind of hosting them. So there are different options how the hosting can be done. So the hosting can be provided, the local hosting can be provided. There can be some special JavaScript tools, and basically there are lots of different tools. And so example is also one of these tools. And when we host the website or just any data in one's website, so it means that like we have the setup in my exam. So if I go to htdocs, so this is yeah. So apparently I set up that my hosting place is my shop. So there is the setting. I don't remember where is it. I guess there's one of these files. Yeah, there is the setting that I provide a path to my folder that my shop. That's the hosting place, and basically what happens, I have the public place here, and so I have some random txt file here. So maybe let's also write, just create some test file here. So I write some content. So test here is some content. 1, 2, test. And if I save it, yes, it's public, it should be fine. And let me get the text. Then if I go to localhost and then I paste this in this link, I can see that it opened me this file. Yeah? So basically the hosting means that I can use my browser. So I can use my browser. I can navigate to the corresponding files using localhost. Yeah. So I provide localhost, so that's the path, and the path actually is to this public folder. Again, I can set up it in my exam environment, so you can set up other folder but only that's the public folder, and yeah, it simply means that we can use our this environment as the website or just something similar. Yeah, mostly that's kind of website. Yeah, in fact, the website is just it's just a simple again similar folder. Yeah, so folder like this, which stores the files, and basically all the websites are built from the files. And we use hosting to then place all these files and to be able to basically work with these files. And so to open these files, to navigate from one file to another, to do the rendering, and lots of many different things can be done. So this is just a small remark of what the hosting is about. So if you work with web development, so even if you just but if you want to also build your website, then even locally on your computer, then you can easily just simply transfer all the files online, and not online, but only on web hosting. So in that case, you need to have the hosting. And the same for the database. Yeah? So I can host my database, which is stored actually nearby. Yeah? So the database is stored under MySQL. So I have Excel, I have MySQL folder, and in fact, so here is the main setup of my database. The most crucial part is data. So here we have the files which are related to my database. And also the tables and the data of the tables. So if I'm not mistaken here, the date one. Yeah? So that is a small mark of to inform you what the hosting means. So just in case you heard future, then you know that this is the place from where we can place and then access this from the web browser. Okay. So that's the thing, and yeah. So now let's proceed with the database. So what will we do today? So we can basically proceed with multiple examples, but today let's maybe do it a little bit in a little bit interesting way. So just to combine the knowledge we already got before. So if you remember, we had the task about the officers and districts. So what was it? Let me check. There was data structures. No. Object-oriented programming. Yeah, so that's object-oriented programming still. So maybe what will I do? I will copy paste these files, but maybe I'll do it a little later. So first of all, what I want to start is that I create the database which stores the officers and districts. Actually I have it. I guess that was from the previous example. So maybe let's delete this one and then create a new one. So just in case you want to delete the database, you can navigate it here, and then press drop. The database will be deleted. Then actually, then you can see the select the SQL query executed, which will be executed then, and then the database is gone. So, and then I can create a new database, and let's say this will be officers in district. Yeah, so this is the so since we know that the database that's basically this set some kind of collection of characters, in fact, yeah. So split it in some way and structure it. But in fact, these are the characters. So the characters have the character set, yeah. So they have the special special character set, and then the character set can also be selected from here. And this is interesting thing because I mean, not interesting. Sometimes it's maybe quite a strange thing, because some databases by default have a strange extension. Like here you can see. Not sure why it is created this way. Maybe stop it from somewhere, but yeah, in some cases we may have the situation when the character set is not set to UTF-8, and in that case we would have the problems with for example, Latvian language would have problems if the character set is not set to UTF-8. So just have to be sure that everything's fine with the character set level with UTF-8, and that's by default. Regarding the difference between UTF-8, so this B4 and B4 Unicode and others, okay, we have in Latvian, but okay, so we can simply use this one. It should work fine. Okay, so we need that always work fine. Okay, so then let's create two tables: the officers and district. Okay. So let's create a table, officers. So then I'll have officer ID. So I'll just simply copy paste what we had in that assignment. So what do we have? We had name, surname, working district, I guess ID as well. That was named as officer ID. But in this case, I mean, let's just make it small, because we have tag officers then. For sure we'll store the officers only. So from this perspective, you can also see that we should provide the correct name, not correct, but the relevant names for the tables, because otherwise, so just deleting it means that if we have officers here, officers table, that means that we should store the officers only. We cannot store some kind of just non-officers. Yeah. So we should store only the officers. Yeah. So if we say this table of officers, it means that only the officers should be stored there, and that's why we can skip adding some prefixes like officer or off or whatever it is. Yeah. So just you can simply shorten it to ID, and that will be fine. Yeah. So then we have ID, name, surname. So we can prefer maybe varchar, but we can anyway just simply do this, since this is not the key, so we can keep it as text. So then the default I will set to all of them. So it means that if we set this as null, that means that we must provide the value, so the value is mandatory to be provided. And yeah, so I can but yeah, so here I can set it as primary, so ID should be primary, and it also automatically increment, and since that ID will be generated automatically. Okay, so this is done. Name, surname. Okay, so what else do we have? We have working district. So we have working district, and in fact maybe we can also add one more call that will be active. And that will be active, and so this will point us if the officer is active officer, or he or she is so just is the past officer, so he or she does not work anymore. So let's say that the default moment. Oh, maybe let's make it opposite. Not yeah. So in that case, that would be that once we once the officer goes from the work, then this becomes true. So then we can set it as low and that we have. So this is done, and we have working district. So in this case, we'll make it a little bit interesting. I will name it as working district, and then I will provide integer, not name. Why? Because this will be a foreign key to the table which we'll create next, the table of districts. Yeah. So. Okay, yeah, I will going to provide it. But set it as the foreign key, and the last one is prime solved. So prime solved, that's that. Solved. And this should only be integer, and so we have unsigned integer. So I don't remember if we do have unsigned integer. So don't remember, because the primary solve cannot be negative. Okay, let's simply keep it as integer, and so then everything is fine. Then okay, so now we are ready. You can set the table. Yeah, by the way, after the lesson I will export to the database to you, so you can simply later on show you what can you do. Yeah, or at the end of the lesson I will export to the database, and then you can just simply execute SQL query I will provide, and then you will basically have all the information that I do from this session. So don't worry if you are not if you cannot just keep the tempo here. So don't worry, I will then send the SQL query. You can just simply execute and get all the information we do during this session. Yeah. So. Yeah. So now we have one table, and as I promised, let's create another table of district. So that will be district, and so do we have a district? Let me check. We have officers, and district name. What do we have? Let me check. We didn't have the officer or the name of the district. Is that correct? Strange. But okay, let's see that also the name. So of course we'll have the ID. So that will be primary and automatically incremented. And let's add the name. Let's add the name. And the name will be, let's say it will be text. And so, I guess that's it, right? So we don't need anything more. Okay. So now it is done. So the next step is that we should add the foreign key to our working district. So in this case, what I need to do, so if I'm not mistaken, I need to add the index. So index name would be, say, working district. District, say, foreign key. And if I'm not mistaken, it was not here. Hold on, let me check. I guess there was I don't remember where the button is. Okay, so that was here. So why don't press relation with OK. So then we can do it from here, and what's then select the columns, the column working district. So that would then be linked to the office district, search district, and yeah, then this would be table district, and yes, then the code will be ready. I think so. Now that this is done, let's say working district currently. Okay, so now it's done. Save restrict. Yeah, so this should be fine. Let's save it. Okay, and now we have the foreign key. So when I navigate here, I can see that here I have a foreign key, and it means that the working district from here then should match the ID from this table. Yeah. So I guess we are done with the database, and the next step is that we can use the database and work with it. Yeah, so the next step is that we do the coding. And so then what will I do? I will, yeah, just by the way, do you have any questions about the setup of the database? Okay, then we can proceed. Okay, and now we can write the code. So I will just make it easier. I will copy district and officer classes from here, and then I'll put them. Just let's create a new one. Just to fix them. So and here we'll say officer district. It's in the database. Okay, and let's create a project. Okay, and I will put the files here. Okay, files are here, and yeah. In addition, we need to add the package to be able to work with MySQL. So let's do it. That should be master connector. One, visit document add package. So what's the problem? Or sorry. Yes, that's master connection if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. Why do we have the files here? For a moment, it's a little strange. So let's go to the file. Yeah, so why do we have to? So that's this file is here. That's a little strange. Okay. So let's package. And I'm mistaken, master connector. Oh, no. One moment, so what's the package name was here? Okay, master connector. Okay, again, the sequence. Sorry. Add package. And it should be fine. Yeah. So now it should be fine, and let's then proceed. Was creation of the officer. So then maybe I will delete these values since I don't need them. I'll need these comments. And I will add name of the district. And then also connect getters and setters. So, and also setter. Right. So now we have the setters, getters, and we can now proceed. Maybe I also remove the code from here. The comments, just that we don't have too much comments here. Just make the code clear. Okay, this is done as well. And so it's also this is done as well. Okay, so now this is done, and we can now use these classes to construct our content and database. So what can we do? So let's say that we want to enter the officers. We want to enter the officers from console. Yeah. So that would be the usual, one of the usual ways we can do it. So then let's then write the program. Let's then write the program. So let's then click on the one. So first of all, I'll ask user if the user wants to enter the officer. So let's say do you want to so this now we will enter the data about the officers and then add them to the database. So let's do it. So first I will ask, do you want to enter the officers? And then I will ask yes or no. Yeah, so if the user wants, then the user should enter Y. If the user does not want, then the user should enter N. And of course in this case we should also check the user input, so that's why I'll use while true, and then check if the user provided correct input or not. So then I'll get, let's say, answer here, and I will read it from console. So then I check. So if answer is not equal to Y, or it is not and then we should write the error message and continue. Correct answer. No, just incorrect input. And then we'll continue. Okay, continue. Else we check the answer. So else we check the answer. And by the way, I can put the answer here. and then use this there. So then if answer equals yes, then I will add the officers. So then just to not write everything in one code, in one place, so just to separate the logic, let's create the method again. So this is just for us to make the writing comfortable. Yeah, I will just divide it and divide the code and move it to the separate method. Yeah. So then in static void, and that would be enter officers. This will be enter officers, and from here I will ask user to provide the data of the officer. So first of all, actually this will be the cycle, so in this case we will enter as many officers as we want. That's why I will use while true here, and at some point the user will stop, and so I will provide the details how the user can stop. So the first of all, I will ask user to provide the name. The officer. So and here I will get the name. Step. And then I'll ask user to read it from to provide it also. So then I'll do the same for surname. Last name. So what else do we have? We have just the database. Non-active will be filled automatically. So then working district just to be provided a little bit later. Oh, okay, then I guess we better start with the districts. One moment, let me think. It's an interesting question. How can we really work with the district? Okay, so I will do one small adjustment. For the districts, I will add one more field. And this is the field which normally presents in the table, in most of tables, especially when we migrate the data from somewhere. Then we need to have one field, and the field name is external ID. So this is maybe the first point, maybe a little bit unclear what the external ID means, but this is quite crucial field, and I'll also create the index on this. It means that I will want to have it unique. So one moment, I'll add it as index. Yeah, I'll put it as index, and this would be external ID index. Yeah, this would be unique. And I will save it here. Yeah. So, and in this case, what the external ID is and why do we need them? Why do we need external ID? So that's maybe also quite interesting question, because again, as I said, at first it may be a little bit unclear. But yeah, so we can see that we have two types of IDs. We have ID, which we can consider as internal ID, and we have the external ID. So what's the difference between them? Yeah, so first of all, what can we see from ID field? ID field, that's the field which is primary key of this exact table, so the table district. this database, yeah, so this server, so exactly displays this database, yeah, and this database table. So it's not different database, it's just exactly this database, right? We are here, we are here, and this field is defined as the primary key here, and it is also automatically incremented here, so it means that in fact this ID is generated on this exactly this database table level. It's not generated from somewhere else, it is generated here, it is stored here, and it is used as the primary key here. Yeah? So we can consider this ID as the unique identifier of exactly this table. Yeah. So, but what's the thing? What's the thing, and why do we need another ID? So, in fact, we may have multiple databases. Yeah. So, just on practice, that may be that you have simply two websites. Yeah. So, let's say that you have, so as an example, we have a Baltic website. Yeah, so where you can buy the tickets exactly for Air Baltic on Air Baltic air company airline, and then on the other hand you have Skyscanner. Yeah, but again, maybe Skyscanner, if I'm not mistaken, they use APIs, but so let's say if it's Skyscanner or just any other website or tool or application where you also can buy the tickets to fly on Air Baltic. Yeah, so in fact you have two websites, yeah, where you can simply buy the same thing, and they all are related. Yeah, they are related with each other, because if you buy the ticket on one place, and the ticket will not be available on another place. Yeah, so it means that, there's some kind of data exchange. Again, for Skyscanner, maybe I'm not so precise now, because they have the APIs. I guess they don't have a separate database, but let's just imagine the case that they do not have APIs, they are not linked with each other, so they have, not linked with each other using APIs, they just have, let's say, two databases, yeah, as an example. They have the database storage at one place, and they have database storage at another place. And yeah, so it means that the ticket order, yeah, so let's say that we are ordering the ticket, and so it means that the order is created in one place, and so let's say that's one website or another website, doesn't matter. And then, so maybe let's say that we have ordered a ticket on the Air Baltic website, so there's a database there, so it means that the order is created, the order is placed in the database, and it means that some kind of ID is generated and stored there. Right? So this is done, yeah? So the entry is created, the database here, so you have your order details, your order ID, and so on and so on. And so all the information. Then it is placed in the database. It's placed in the database, which is used by Air Baltic. On the other hand, let's say that we want to send this exact entry, or just simply so let's say that there may be such thing that the data is sent like, every hour, yeah, or maybe every 10 minutes, or just something like that. So let's say that we are sending, not just one entry, but maybe 10 or hundreds of entries, yeah, doesn't matter. So let's say that we send the data from Air Baltic database table to Skyscanner database table. And so it means that we send the data is received by Skyscanner, and what they have their own database. Yeah. So let's say that you have ID, just random ID, let's say ID 73, for example, and then the same ID exists in Skyscanner page. Yeah, so they cannot simply place and use this ID, since they use different metrics of their IDs. But we need to place this ID, and in fact, normally then it means that on the Skyscanner database there will be field external ID, which simply stores the ID of the order which comes from somewhere else. Yeah. So basically means that if we exchanging the data in between different sources, again I just mentioned the database, it can be any other kind of source, yeah, like the files, just any kind of source, and then to identify the data on these files, we can use external IDs. So that's the point. That's the point. One, we have the ID which is generated by exactly this database, this system, this server, and another one is that comes from somewhere else. So in that case, we can use this as well. Okay, so this is done. This is done, and so now I would then ask the user to provide the district ID where the officer works. Provide the ID of the district. Let's say external ID. The officer works. And so here I'll get this external ID. And do I want to make it as integer? Yes, so let's then use it as integer. The data type can be, in some cases it can be different. So, and here I then again need to check if input is correct. So then I'll use true, since here we have integer, so it means that it cannot be any string. So here I'll then have parsing, try parse. Hold on. So maybe some kind of -1. Then I'll ask user to provide input. And yes, and here I'll have out parameter. This would be external. So then if try parse is not correct, if it's false, then we need to ask user to enter again. So I'll ask user to say that the input is incorrect. Incorrect input. And then I'll ask user to provide it again. Otherwise, I can do it this way. Otherwise, I'll break this loop. Yeah. So then the input is validated and we can move on. Yeah, so just any questions, let me know. So now we are done with the external ID. And what else do we have? Check. So now working districts and crime solved. But again, in this case, you can see that this is not the entry we can place here, right? Because here we have the ID, which will be in fact this ID. Yeah, so in that case, we also then need to get this ID then. Yeah, so just to make sure that that's not just as easy, but so I want to stick to the best practices there. So let's maybe use this approach and make everything perfect here. Okay, so incorrect input is done, and then the last thing is crime solved. So then again I can copy paste and use the symbol to check. So here this will be provide the number of crimes solved. Oh, well, here I need to have external ID to be defined outside the loop, because we need to be able to access it from outside this loop. So just please be careful when you define your variables, because if you define them outside of the loop, then inside the loop, then they won't be available from outside the loop. Okay, so and then this would be prime salt. Salt number. Okay, so this is then done, and here I need to change it to number 7. Just in case input is incorrect, we can then ask user to repeat it. Okay, so this is done. This is done, and I guess for the officers that's it. For the officers that's it. One thing before we continue, I want to then also create the similar logic for districts. Because first of all, we need to excuse me, we need to enter the districts, and then we can enter the officers into districts. Okay, so then that would be starting point, enter districts with and then we can simply use the same approach as we used here. So I will first ask the user to provide the name of the district. Then I will ask to provide the external ID. This would be then this one. So then I will not ask it for a particular officer. Okay, this is done. And so what else do we have here? Oh, yeah, that's it. We don't have anything more. Okay, so and then I can ask. No, so first of all, then I will create the object. So I'll create the object of this district. Why it's not visible? Oh, hold on. I need to align the namespace, of course. Since I just copy pasted, I need to align the namespace I have. Okay. Here we go. So now it should be visible and available for the program. And so I will create then the district as the object. So new district, and here I will set name. And I will set external ID. Set external ID, so I will also add then here private integer external ID. Also generate create getter setter. So X tag still on here. So now we can enter them as well. Enter it as well. So external ID. Here we have external ID, right? Yeah, we will have it. Okay, so and now we're done. So the next step is I want to create the collection. So here we have the loop. So in this loop I want to fill in. So maybe I can also write. So in this loop we fill in all the districts from console. Yeah, and then it means that before that I can create the collection of them where I will store them. So then this will be what, maybe let's use one first, since we won't have any any complicated operations. Is that connection generic? Right, I'm mistaken. Yeah, that's one list. So the type would be district, and this will be district entered. Also, this is collection. So first I go through all the officers, and then I will just simply put not officers, districts. Then I will just simply put each district created, provided from console there, into the linked list. Okay. So I now create this collection here, and this will be then here. What means that at the end I will enter the district at the end. And the last thing I will ask user to continue. So this will be the question. So I'll also check the input. Okay, so do you want to, maybe I can say the officer registered. Oh, this one. Oh, the district. District is registered. Do you want to continue? And districts. So again, yes or no. So if the answer is not yes or and not no, then we continue, otherwise we break the loop. Okay, the same here, otherwise we'll have endless loop. Okay, so now we can fill in all the districts, and then the same way I will also do it for the officers. And so I will select list, I'll provide the officers, center it, okay, and then I will put the officers to this linked list. At the end, here, first I need to create the officer first. Let's do it. And okay, so here I guess I need to provide, I can provide name and surname as well. Just all details. Maybe let's use the set approach. Set name. So let's set surname. Then let's set working district. Oh, and this is the thing I don't really like. So here let's change it. Not using the string, but let's use it as integer. Yeah. Since I want to store this external ID here, that's a good question. Do we? Yeah, I guess we better start with external ID here. And that will be working district. So D, and then the setter will be done the same. Okay, so now we can adjust it. Oh, hold on, I guess I also have setter. just then. Okay, let's maybe settle them here. Oh, why did I do that? That's why. Okay, so then this is done. Then this is done, and so the get setter is here, getter. That is integer. Okay, and then we can set it here. Okay, so what else do we have? We have number prime solved. Okay, so what else? I guess that's it, right? What do we have? Surname, here we have last name. Okay, so this is done, and now we can enter the officer to our list. And then ask, and do the same as for the district. So then I can say the officer is registered. We want to continue entering the officer. So then I have to do it the same way as I did here. Okay, so at this point I will enter all the officers and all the districts into their corrections. So then I can check the same here. Do the same here as for the officers. I can do the same for the districts. Okay. So then I can proceed this way. So that if yes, I will enter officers. And then the same here, I will enter districts. Hold on. So enter districts. And one more thing. Yeah, maybe let's change it to linked list. So just we also have the return type here, so then we can work with that because these two collections are related with each other since the officers are located in the districts. So then we here have the linked list. So then we need to have a common method where we process them both. Okay, so this is done. And now we then need to enter the officers here. Right. So I will define the linked list. And then I will get this linked list in here. So then can from I can also skip to this since we have one statement. And then I'll do the same for the district. List district and the districts interact. So now we created the input. So let's check if the input is correct. So if at this point we have any issues, maybe we have some syntax errors. Let's check. Then so we have some errors. Let's check why. I guess so there was one issue I already spotted. Okay, so we have an issue here, district 14. Okay, so here we have integer, not string. So one issue. So then also district 19. This one. Okay, yeah, so here we have again integer, not string. Then let's go next. It's 25. Okay, so the question is. Okay, then we can. So it's strange. Right, then okay. Then I can use equals. Okay, I got it. That's fine. The problem is that yeah. So just remember, if you use single quotation mark, then this is character. If you use double quotation marks, then this is string. Okay. Same here. And okay, another issue, officer 182. Oh yeah, so here also we need to switch it to integer. We also have it to 90. Oh. Okay. So this error is solved. Next one is also 239, so it looks like just have the wrong name for ID. So if you extend ID. Run? No, run? I guess that would be the same. But yeah, anyway, let's change to ID. So let's also ID. That's this one. Sorry, yeah, that was fine. What else do we have? Yeah, so then 169. So it says that we're not going to convert from integer to string. Why does it need to convert to string? Okay, that was changed now, so let's check again. We should have at least once errors here. Okay, and after, so this is also what we need to change. That's the 117 as shown here. So it means that let's not add after, but let's add last. And one more, 125. So yeah, that's also added as last. Okay, so do we have any issues and errors now? Let's try to add something. So I want to add the officer. So let's say it's gonna be something like this. Well, the officer is registered. Let's say I don't want. Okay, so I will have to then to go out of the loop. Oh yeah, so here I don't have it. Then if I and I can check if answer equals to yes, then we just do the loop. Then break the loop. Oh no, sorry, equals to no. And I want to break the loop. So if we don't need to add more officers, I guess. Then for so for districts that should be same. So answer equals if we don't want to add more districts, then we should break the loop. Okay, so this is then one more thing, since we have returning tab, we also need to return something. So then I can do it at the end of the loop, after the loop. So I need to return district entered. Yeah, so since I have returning tab, I need to return them. I'm not sure why the program is compiled. It's strange, it should have been compiled, but okay. So, and so I don't have the officers here. So then here I need to return the officers. So then the program is stopped. Let's try again. Yes. Check. And set to officers. So yes, I want to continue. So let's set something more. Oh. Hold on, why it is... Okay, so... no, so that was... so that was the district. Yeah, hold on. No, hold on. So the first one is... hold on. Do you want to enter the districts? Yes, so we should start with the districts, I'm sorry. And then if answer is true, then we should start with the districts. Okay. Sorry, and I need to... Oh no, everything was fine, just the sequence was... Let's go with a bit incorrect, but we can adjust it. So I want to start with districts, since we need to then add the officers to districts, so it's better than we start. But again, at this point, there's not much difference. So then I can use the same answer variable then, and so here we start with districts. So here we should have the districts. And then from here I'll ask you to return to districts. Then I'll ask you to enter the officers. Okay. And then I will enter the officers. Okay, so at this point let's check again. Let's say I want to enter. Let's say no. Let's say yes. Yeah, and let's say this point we entered, so at this point we filled in the local collections, local data. And so, and the next step will be that we enter this data into the database table. So do you have any questions so far? And so just for you to make it easier to follow, I will share the code in GitHub. So, hold on. Go. Yep. Here I will then add. Okay, today's date, first time. Just so you can follow it. Master. So now you should have this code to be okay, just in case you can follow the tempo. Yeah, I mean that's fine. So that's just for this case, for this point, it's not just that you will write the code, but so just see what happens there. The code I just showed, you can take and see. Just if you have any questions, let me know. So we can have 10 minutes break now. And after the break, we will create the project for the moving the database. Okay. So let's then have 10 minutes break now. So let's continue. So we finished with the entering of the officers and districts from console, and then we can. So the next step, as I said, will be that we enter them into the database table. So first of all, let's write the logic. Let's write the logic, and here I will. Not here. Let's do it below. Yep. So I'll do it then here, and from here I will ask user. I will create the method which will then put the entries into the database table. So then this would be set entries to database. So let's say, okay, we set entries to database. So then I'll provide two arguments. So that first one would be the list of officers, and the second one would be the list of districts. No, districts, of course. Okay, so and from here now I can don't read. Yeah, I don't read the text now, so let's code this way. So, and yeah, so now let's establish the connection same way as we did it here. So I will copy paste first lines. And so yeah, I can also provide database. The name of the database is officers and district. Okay, so connection can be opened, and now we can start. So, the first point what I want to do is that, as you remember, we have this option to create the transactions. Yeah, so and at this point I will one moment, yeah, then I will start the transaction on this connection. So one moment, let me quickly check. Suppose the method name. Yeah, so that's begin transaction. That's the method begin transaction. So check from here. I have my skill connection class, and here I have begin. Let's use this one. I'm not sure what's the first one. Let's use the second one. Okay, transaction. Sorry. And now we can then insert the entries. Okay. So yeah, maybe let's start in the loop. Yeah, so one thing what we also can do is that we use prepared statement. We use prepared statement. And I will explain you what the prepared statement means and how we can use it. So let's start with the example. So let's start with the example, and let's first we write the SQL string. Let's insert let's start with the districts. SQL. And here I'll write SQL query, so that will be insert into table name as districts, right? District. Well, moment, maybe let's change it to districts, just follow the naming. Yeah, I don't have the option to name it. Okay, I can write the query. Okay, simply use district. Should be fine. District. And yeah, so I'll provide the values. So the value will be name and external ID. And then I'll provide the values. And here I'll do one interesting thing. I will do it this way. So I'll not provide the direct value, but I will provide the parameter. So this is called prepared statement. I mean, this is the string for prepared statement, and then we'll create the object for the prepared statement. So first of all, I will create it. I will create the SQL command. So that will be the command, the new SQL command. So the similar way as we did it here. So here I create the command, the new SQL command. You can use VR, you can use the type, there's no difference, and here we have one thing. I will provide it here as null. Oh, no problem. No, I'll provide this string here, and then I also provide the connection. So the connection now should be here, and then we can set the values for the parameters. But yeah, in fact we can do it in loop. So let's go through all the districts we have. Here we go. Districts, go through all the districts. And here we'll do the insert. So we define a command here, and then we need to define the parameters, SQL parameters. So that would be SQL parameter, parameter. So that would be ID parameter, and then this would be the SQL parameter. And so here we will replace the ID we have here with not the ID, but the parameters we define here with the values from our collection. And so that's the point. What will we do here? And then set them. So we provide the type, what we want to enter, so that will be SQL database type. And the type will be not ID. Name and store. And yeah, so that will be name, and then that would be text that will be the text, and then I need to provide the value, and the value will be taken from this script. Cat name, and then it will be set into the parameter, and this name parameter, and then I'll create the same parameter object for the external ID. And that will be external ID. And that will be integer. And then it will be taken from here. Okay. So, and then we can add these parameters. We can add this parameter. So for this purpose, I need to do one more check here, and so then we can set these parameters. And that would be, we can do them this way. The command, I will navigate to the parameters, and from here I will add the parameter. So, and then I will explain later why do we need these parameters. So in theory we can simply generate this string, so that would also be possible, but I will later on explain why this approach is not recommended. I mean the approach when we just simply directly enter the values into the query, string query. I will explain a little bit later why this is not recommended, why this approach is better. So, and what else do we have here? We need to one moment. One thing I want to clarify a little bit. So about this one, I said it's a little bit. That's the size. The size. Oh yeah. So that's, sorry, that was a mistake. We have the size, and maybe let's skip. I guess we don't need size. We need to provide in the values here. So that will be name parameter. Then I set the value, and the value will be the one taken from this script. We get name, and we set here. So the same as for external ID parameter. The value will be taken from the script. And then we can add these parameters. Okay, so now it is done. And then we can ask the command to prepare, and then to execute. That will be non-SQL, non-query, because we do not ask anything to return. Yeah. Done. Yeah, and one more thing. One more thing, in fact. Yeah, there's one more thing how we can do it. And maybe let's adjust this a little bit. So then let's maybe put this one here. Oh, no, I'll do it a little bit differently. Let me think. Yeah, so do it a little bit differently, but just a little bit. So I will define these parameters here, and then I will set. So then I will add these parameters here, and then here I can change the values. So from here I can change the values, and I can change the values just directly accessing the array. So then this would be, so this is the second one, second parameter. Wait, maybe let's find this first one. The parameters, and then we access it, and then we put the value. So, and then this would be the second one. And we also change the sequence because the first one is name. So the first one should be ID, and the second one should be name. Okay, and then I can change the values. Okay, in this case, that should be fine. And so now we'll execute the query, and basically what does it mean is that here we set the values which then be placed here. Yeah, so instead of this add name and add external ID, we will place the values from here, which will basically come from the collection. Okay, so this is done. This is done, and let's then commit. And the end. So let me quickly double check. If commit statement is fine. Moment. Oh no, hold on. Hold on, that's a little bit. One moment. No, there should be connect. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, there's begin transaction. Yeah, there should be. Oh, no, hold on. That should be from the command. Okay. So then it should be from the command. Then I guess we can define this command simply here. And yeah, so then we can commit after the command. Okay. So now it should be fine. It should be fine. Oh, no, hold on. No, hold on, that should not be from the command. One moment. Oh, yeah, so now it's fine. It's fine, yeah, I'm just a little bit confused. Yeah, here we need to get the transaction. Okay, and then from here we can call the transaction and commit changes. Okay, so at this point, yeah, what is commit? This is what I mentioned. So a moment in the previous session. So one moment. So, okay. So here we go. And there was the slide. So we have the transactions. transactions during the working with the database. So what does it mean? If we have selection queries, then if we just simply want to select some kind of data from the database, we don't need any commits or rollbacks or whatever it is. If we do some changes on the database, then the question is, again, if I do one change, if I do a second change, so let's say that at some point I just don't want to commit these changes. I just don't want to write these changes. So it means that I make some changes on the database on the, let's say, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then maybe, step 1, step 2, I make some changes on the database, I change some data, right? I put some insertion queries, I executed some insertion queries, I executed some update queries, I deleted some kind of data, and at some point the program realizes that something goes really bad, something goes incorrectly, there is some kind of serious issue, and then we cannot write these changes. Yeah, so it means that we want to revert back the changes that we done on the database at this particular transaction. So it means that we can start the transaction, we can do our changes, and then see if at some point, it's in the middle or at the end, we realize that we have some issues. Yeah, so let's say maybe the data is incorrect, maybe some technical issues, and so on and so on. So at some point, we may come to the conclusion that the program can come to the conclusion, of course using the code we write, that we simply cannot write these changes to the database. And what does it mean? It means that we can roll back the changes. So if we call rollback, then it means that we don't write all the changes to the database what are done during this particular transaction. So in this case we call the method rollback, but in case we want everything is fine, we can write all the data into the database table, in the database here. So then we can call commit, and it means that all the changes are written to the database. Yeah, so if we have rollback, that all the changes are reverted, and if we have commit, it means that all the changes are saved. Yeah, so it's just simply when you go in some kind of edit mode at some document, and then you can, so it's just simply you enter any form in the website. Yeah, so you enter the values there, and then you press save or you press cancel. So if you press save, it means that all the data will be then submitted and saved and placed in the database. If you press cancel, then it means that nothing will be saved, and you just simply go to the same state you were at the beginning of the transaction. So that's the point. And yeah, this is basically what we do here. We start the transaction. Here we start the transaction, then at the end we commit the changes. So we will later on write the logic here. If something goes wrong, then we will execute rollback. Yeah, but so just in case everything is fine, then we can call commit at this point. Okay, so that is the thing. Do you have questions? Is it more clear? Or still something is not clear? Yeah, so basically in this case, in this way we control the input and do not allow the changes to be saved in case something goes wrong. Yeah. So this is what we want to achieve. Because otherwise, if we don't use commit, then that will be quite complicated to revert back the changes if something goes wrong. There may be connection rules or just any incorrect data or whatever else, and then we need to do the rollback of changes. So is it more clear or just still something isn't clear? Just comment. Yeah, so simply execute, and then we say okay. Yeah, so just imagine that if you are here in my that is localhost. So let's imagine that you are here and you write SQL statements. You execute one insert query, you execute another insert query with some kind of data. Yeah? So you execute, let's say, multiple queries and multiple insert queries, you enter multiple data, you update maybe even something, yeah, you delete something, so you execute all these queries at once. So execute all these queries, then execute delete query, and so on and so on. And let's just mention that at some point you want to revert back all the updates and all the inserts you executed before. Yeah, so it means that all the data updated, all the inserts, all the rows inserted, they all will be done. So if you call rollback, or if you don't commit, but if you place commit, if you execute commit, then in this case it means that you actually accept all this data, you submit all these changes, and then they will be written into the database. Is it more clear? Just something is still not clear. We'll have some exceptions also. Just commit and go back, and then we may see the. So what's the factor then? Okay. So there's no questions. Then let's test it. Let's test it. I will first enter the district only. Let's change the folder. Okay, something is wrong. Let's check what's wrong here. Ooh. Something else, right? Yeah. MySQL. Oh, okay. Guess I did not. Oh, one moment. Oh, yeah, I forgot to enter MySQL method here, so it's my fault. So that's the first thing. Let's copy paste this using. Okay, still some errors, but now we can check them. So type SQL parameter cannot be false, so that's the 158. So let's check what's the problem. I guess maybe typo. So SQL parameter, not typo. One moment. This is a little bit strange. Let me double check. That should be system data. Okay, so that is system data SQL point. Show you now. Okay, still something wrong. Let's check what's wrong. let me then add it as the package. Should not on the system. Honest. Okay, maybe. Okay. Let's try to run. Okay, still issue, but okay. Last issue. So I guess for SQL database that we should also add the package if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, that's also from system data. So let's install the system. Sorry. .NET package. And package. System data package. So the package is wallet, and I guess we also need them to add it here. Right, so let's check now. Okay, the last one is related to the command, so cannot use local point before it is the okay. So that is easy. Yeah, of course, I need to deploy that here. Just sequence. I guess now should be better. Okay, so let's enter the districts only. Say district 1. So what's the ID will be 10. Let's enter, let's say 2 districts. Be the ID 12, and let's also add 1 officer. Or let's maybe not add the officers at all, since we don't work with them. Okay, so, sorry, I forgot to call this method actually from here. Yeah, sorry. So let's start the entries to the database. So we start with the officers, and then we go with districts. And yeah, so one more thing, what we can do here, also check if districts are not known. If districts not equals known, then we can, because otherwise we don't need to work with them. And yeah, then also for the officers, we will add it a little bit later. But first let's check if it works with districts. Sorry, not district, but what? We have a district, so what's the problem? Sorry, that's one for 51. Okay, sorry. District center, of course. And line 51. And yeah, I guess we also need them to initialize. Okay, then we will do it the following way. So then I will do the following way. I will initialize them here, and then from here I will add them. So that will be add last, and from here I'll add the collection of them. So it's also possible to add the collection, so then I'll do it this way. And then the same for the district centered, I will also then add them this way. Yep. Yeah, so in this case we add one collection into another. One. So this is such approach. Okay, done, and let's now check if this works correctly. Okay, I'm pretty sure some errors may be there. Oh, okay, so what's the issue? Again. The current process is generic. Search 2. Ah, hold on. This is the 131. So I enter one command collection into another. Oh, hold on. So what's the... Ah, okay, so it asks to note. Yeah, okay, I don't really like it. Okay, then we can do it the following way. I can then we can then use the C style approach, and then we can escape this way. I can simply pass by reference then. But in fact, since we have the object, I can then provide it just directly here. And then we'll create this object here before. And so just so in this case we just change the place where we declare the variable, nothing more. Okay, so that we can enter districts, and from here we provide this district variable. And so nothing different, special different, and the same for the officers. So we change it to what, and then pass the values. So again, since here we work with the objects, we don't need to pass them by reference. Yeah, the objects are automatically by itself are provided as the reference. Yeah. Okay. So, and then here we need to provide them here. So logically it becomes a little bit smaller, but that's fine. Okay. So let's check now. Still the issue, but okay. Ah, yeah. I forgot to remove this return because we don't need it anymore. Yeah, because if we have void, we don't have to return anything. So This is the point here. So let's run. Okay. So let's check. Let's check. What will be the first district? There's one. Let's say that is 10. Yes, I don't want to continue. So let's second one with district 2. Sterling keyword will be 12. So I want to continue and I don't want to enter the officers. Okay, so we have the exception, that's fine. So let's check what's the point. The point here is that it cannot cast so this should be on line that's the 132. No, hold on. Oh, that's 151 from the program. Okay, so from here we call. Then we can see the stack trace. Next one is 69. Okay, so that's the 169 from this method. Okay. Okay, so here we have this issue, and here it does not like that we pass SQL parameter to the parameters. This is the demonstration cost of system required SQL parameter to my SQL parameter. Oh, okay, so here we have a difference. To my SQL parameter. Okay. Okay, again, I need to switch it to my SQL parameter. Kind of mistake with it. So I can quickly double check this. Yeah, that's now then should be fine. And yeah, so this just need to switch to my SQL parameter. So let's check it out. This I want to enter the districts. District 1. Yeah, D10. Ah, yes, I know. Yeah, we want. District 2. Sterling count. I don't want to continue. I want to enter the officers. Okay, we have next one. So that's on line 79. This is execute on query, right? Okay, so we have one invalid operation. Exception associated with this comment is not the connection active transaction. Ah, okay, yes, I got this. Yes, I got this. Yeah, so this one needs to be inside the loop. So this one needs to be inside the loop. Oh, no, hold on. No, we have one district, so it's not inside the loop. What's the problem? It's not the connection active transaction. Okay, so maybe at first let's maybe skip using comment here. So just that was a little bit crazy, but okay. Then we're gonna check this. Let's start without commenting. So let's say that we want to enter the districts. Repeat district 1. So this way. district 2, 12. No, I don't want to seat. No, okay, still. Next exception, so what's the next exception? External ID must be defined, but it's not defined. Okay, typo. Yeah. Just small typo on it. I got Windows wrong. Okay. Let's try again. District 1. ID of return. Yes, I want to continue. Provide the name of the district. So, name of the district will be district 2. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. District 2, B12. No, I don't want to continue. I don't want to add any officer. And yeah, see the finally something happened. Let's check what do we have here. Okay, we have now the entries in the database. So, okay, we'll work with the comments a little bit later. So maybe next week we'll maybe more good comments. But in this case, we entered the districts into the database from the code. So this is good. This is good. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, then if not, so maybe any questions about this one? Because now let's let it be until Monday. I want to give you the task. The task would be that you finish this program and then create the same logic for the officers. And yeah, so you can see that we provide the officers here, and yeah, so maybe let's do this. Check the size, the length. Oh, count. Sorry, count is greater than 0. So the task for you is to create the same logic for the officers. Yeah. Then you enter the officers. By the way, so that's the task. But so just for you to, yeah, first of all, let me maybe push this code first. Change the folder. Sorry. Just need to change the practical. To add everything. Let's push the changes. Okay, so this is done now. Yeah, so what's the thing? The thing is that I can actually export and import database. So I have this button, export. So that means that I can export the whole database. And let's say that I want to export it in a custom way. So I will export all this, the structure and all the entries I have. And I guess that should be enough. So then I go down and press go. And now I have SQL query generated. So what does it mean? It means that if I go to my server, I can go to SQL and I can execute this query. So once I execute this query, let's create the database. Say, maybe let's go to test database. Yeah, I'll do it stable. Let's see. Okay, maybe let's create a new one. Test database. And then I go to this database, and from here I execute the query. So I can see that all the queries are executed. And then means that when I go here, hold on, why it's okay. Not sure why there's no dropdown, but here we can see all the tables we have. Yeah, so basically I execute the query and I have all the database copy from what database copied. So I will share this database content with you. So you can also use it. Yeah, so just simply copy paste this SQL, go to the create the database, go there, and execute the query here. Yeah, so paste the query, press go, and then you will have your data. You have the data, we just created during the lesson. Yeah. So, and after that you can work with this database. Yeah. So the task for you is, I'll write it on the practical task. So that's just home task. And let's say until Monday. And finish the example from the lesson, which puts some add the code, which adds the officers to the database. And here is one additional thing what you need to do. So there is one additional thing. So firstly, maybe let's then do this thing together. Let's do the first part. Let's do maybe together. So the thing is, there's one more thing I want to. We need to do. So first of all, when you can see that, so here, you can see that we have external key, which is the internal ID. So it means that this should be this ID. Yeah. But the thing is that at this point we know only the external ID. So in this case, how should we proceed? And how can we proceed? In this case, we will need to then get this ID. So, and how can we? But in fact, let's maybe skip this part. Let's maybe do it a little bit differently. I'll make it maybe easier. I will change this index. I will change this index and then just simply link it to the external ID. Okay, in this case we can then work with the external ID. I guess that should be fine since we work again. So in this case I changed it a little bit. Let me then also export this query. So just have the relevant version. Maybe adjust it a little bit. not sure it was here. So this should be the wrong version, and yeah, so the thing is that the same way as here, same way as with the districts, we need to implement the same query or the same logic for the officers. Yeah? So that's the point here. Do you have any questions about this? So this is tomorrow. You can start today. I will be available so half an hour. So just in case you have any questions, I can show you, demonstrate here, and so then provide assistance. But do you have any questions now? So just maybe something is not clear. What and why did we do? Some point. Yeah. So here we have the. Yeah. I promised you to explain one thing. Why do we need to add the parameters this way? As first, we can see that we have one query here, and then we can adjust this query every time here. So that's the first point. So first advantage is that we can adjust this query inside loop. And so otherwise we need to generate this query every time here in the string. So that would also be possible. I mean, so if we just simply did something like this, copy paste this one, and just show you how this would look like. And so it means that here we enter the string, and then let's say that we enter one value, and then so we just simply concatenate the string here. Since I get the name from somewhere, yeah. So just restrict something, and so the name, and then you add the external ID. So that would be this way. So yeah, something like this. Yeah, so you would construct the string every time. So, but what's the point? Why this is not a good way to do it? So first of all, usually the data comes somewhere from the user input. So, and in theory, user input may conflict with the query, with SQL query. So it means that user can enter some values which will then add some additional parameters to the query, yeah, and maybe execute, and then the input may execute the logic differently. Of course, this is not what we want to do. What we want to do, what we want to achieve, and that's why. That is why we need to. It's better to use such prepare statements where you can just simply set the parameters directly from the code, yeah, without just concatenating and building the strings by our own. And then we set these values. Then we add them here. So here we define the pattern. The pattern is defined. We add the values here. So here. Then we add simply the parameters. Then we add definition of the parameters. Then we add the values. In addition, you can also see that we define the type. What should be the type of the values, and then I set these values. And so it's also more safe since the type is defined. And so the program will not enter the values which have incorrect type. I mean, not allow to execute such queries. And so that is why we have such approach. Do you have any questions? Okay, and then you can start working on this. Yeah, so that would be the home task on Monday. So just finish then the code, and then on Monday we can go through. But yeah, so right now, so just if you have the time, if you can, then please start doing, and I will be here for another, let's say, kind of 25-30 minutes. Then just any questions, let me know, okay? So I'm here. Yeah, just any questions, let me know. I will show you an answer there. Okay, any questions? So how the things are going? So have you tried? Okay, then, so then maybe if there are no questions, not sure if you are then working now, but and just in case you have any questions, please contact me, let me know. But so in general, it seems that we can close the session today. So thank you much for your attention. So please don't forget to choose the game you will implement for the final project, for the final assignment. And also for those who have not selected the team, so please also let me know about your team. Otherwise, I will just run in splitting teams. Okay, so but then just to make it faster for you to finish them today. So have a nice evening, have a nice weekend. Please fill in all the tasks and then meet you all on Monday. Thank you and bye.